Okay, folks, I'm in the man cave, and I did a video talking about this escape room that's here in Tacoma, right? And the title of that video is "Escape Room Minimalizes Slavery with a Room Called Underground Railroad," right? So I did that video, and what's what's funny is that instantly when I did the video, because I can see who gives a thumbs up, thumbs down. There were two thumbs down. Now, it's kind of ironic that there's two thumbs down because there are two people that own this room. Now, I'm not blaming and saying that it's those two individuals, but it's just kind of funny because there's nothing to thumbs down in the video, which is fine. I mean, you could thumbs down and have your grandmama thumbs down and have your granddaddy and your mama and your daddy. That's fine. But it's just funny that there was, out of everybody else that gives it a thumbs up, there's just two that gives it a thumbs down. And that's fine. You do what you got to do. I appreciate your thumbs downs as much as I do your thumbs up because it lets me know that you're watching. But with that said, that video hits hard for some people because it calls out things that are a major problem in this country, where we have people that want to minimalize other people's struggle, right? As long as it doesn't affect them or their mom or their daddy, their grandmama, their grandmama, grandpapa, they don't care about how it affects other people, right? They don't care. And so, especially when you're talking about money, when money is concerned, there are people who will do whatever it takes to make money. They don't care the implications. They don't care how it makes them come off. They don't really care, right? The one thing they do care about is when money gets affected. And in this case, and this is the reason why I said, it's funny because you have, like I said, there's a tribe of trolls that kind of live on social media, different media platforms, and they do their little thing, and they're borrowing someone's computer probably, or in the library, and they're typing away. Someone said, why, and I don't know if it was on this video or it could have been a different one. It could have been about Botham Jeans as a victim of America, which is the case. But they said, why would a black man want to move to a mostly white city and complain about racism? Now think about that for a second. Why? And I've heard other people say that about another YouTuber who is definitely a problem. But anyway, that's a different story. But the question is, why would a black person move to a city that's mostly white? And my question is, why is it your business what someone does? First off, that's the very first. I'll get to the escape room in a second. But why is it your problem or your concern or anything like that as to what someone does with their money and where they choose to live and all of that? I don't get that. Like, especially, and I think this was a guy. As a man, I never sit and ask another man what they're doing, why they're doing it, and how they're doing it. Like, to me, that's just kind of strange. I never... I get when women ask me that question, or back in the day when chicks ask me that question, because they're trying to, see if I'm a prospect. But when you're another man and you're asking a man who's already married and everything, what's he doing with his money? It's just, I don't get it. Even if the dude was single, why would you ask? Why would another dude care about what another man does? I have guy friends. And, like whenever they're like unemployed or they got a new job or something, I'm like, cool, like, or they get a promotion. That's great, man. That's wonderful. But I don't sit there and like get into the weeds of everything. I don't get that. Like, that's not really much of a man to me. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. That's the first thing. Second thing is that if we're talking about why would a black person move to a city that's mostly white, we're going back into the whole controlling what black people do, right? This isn't like, even though some people want it to be, it's not 1819. where you get to tell black folks what to do, where to go, how to be. No, it doesn't work like that. So that's the second part of that. The third part, which I still don't get, is that most cities in this country are mostly white. I mean, most cities are mostly white. There's very few that are mostly black. Very few. And there's very few that are mostly Hispanic. Most cities, big and small and large, are going to be mostly white. So that means that you want all black people, again, telling black people where to go, what to do in their space. It's just stupid. Stupid. But anyhow, getting back to this particular situation, and again, that's America, right? You have people who really and truly can't figure out how to go to school and really be educated. Yet they want to sit and tell other people what to do and how to live and where to go and what to, it's just, I don't get it. I really don't get that. It's childish. When it comes to this escape room, you have individuals that were trying to spin the narrative as to what this was about. And I knew that it wouldn't pass muster because everybody with common sense know that the Underground Railroad had nothing to do with Union soldiers trying to get away from Confederate soldiers and all this other type of stuff. And it's not a game. And as I said before, they're not making a room talking about the Holocaust, nor are they making a room talking about Christians or, white people trying to, escape tyranny from wherever. They're not doing that. Right? They want to make it after something that is very sensitive to the black community and something that people should be. Slavery should be something people are ashamed of, not something that you sit there and be proud of. And the excuse is, well, not all white people were slaves. That's true. Most white people today, if you were to take them back into that time, would probably be fairly broke and poor. I mean, I know that. But the ones like the Bill Gates and the other folks, those would have been probably back, not saying that he would, but you're very, very, very wealthy people. Not your, I don't think there was much of a middle class. Not your middle class folks, and definitely not those below that would have slaves. It just didn't happen that way, right? So the population of people that actually had slaves was small, but still significant enough to where it propelled the American economy. Heck, even Trump said that black Americans built this country. But in this particular case, the room finally decided to change its name. And it decided to change its name because there was a black gentleman here in Tacoma. And one of the things is, Tacoma is a different city, and I said this in that video, is a different city than what people are used to or the way it was in the past. There are a lot of black professionals here. There's a lot. There's a lot of black business owners. There's a load of them. And those individuals are connected to other businesses. For example, we're connected to a few different businesses. And it's kind of like, how can you, for one, there's a lot of people that look to go to team outings or team events, or they want to take their staff someplace. And you have a place that is basically minimalizing slavery. It's not a good look. And a lot of those businesses won't even go there. They're not going to take their staff to something like that. The optics look horrible. And especially when you're doing business with people who are people of color, especially black folks. It doesn't, to me, it didn't make any sense then. It doesn't make sense now. It's just stupid. So they decided, there was a black gentleman that actually saw it, emailed them, and they emailed back to this person. They finally met up with him. He explained to them why this was something that was not appropriate. Hold on one second. Okay, sorry about that. The girls have an after-school thingy, so the bus drops them off and all that. Because they're doing all types of different little school projects and stuff. But anyway, so the optics look bad. This gentleman spoke to them and explained to them about the circumstance and how this actually affects race. Everything that we do in society in America, a lot of times, is around race. People don't want to admit that or talk about it or deny it. There are many things that do come into play with that. Not everything. Not everything. And many times I think that in our community, we're quick to jump to assume things too, when maybe that isn't the case, right? It could, I'm not saying that necessarily these individuals are bigots or racist or anything like that. But, one of the things that I learned when I used to work for the federal government was when someone says, I didn't know that that was illegal. One of the responses I remember someone saying, and I remember one time a police officer called in and asked a question, and we explained that to them, and they said, well, the person didn't know. And then the cop said, after he said the person didn't know, he said, ignorance of the law is no excuse. So you may be ignorant of the law, but you're still going to get a ticket or you're still going to go to jail. And in a circumstance like this, you may be ignorant of the circumstance, meaning not like you're just dumb, just that maybe you didn't know that this was something that was problematic, right? But instead of saying, oh, my bad, I didn't know it was problematic, you don't double down and just say, well, I'm just going to keep holding firm, because all it does is continue to highlight your situation even more, right? This place has offered itself up for sale many a times before, right? And it's trying to get business in there, and I get it. Having a business is tough, but I mean, basically creating something like this is not the way to go. It's not the way to do it. It doesn't make a lot of sense. They were also talking about having random black folks pulled off the street to go in there and experience the room and see what it was about. And that's not the way to go either, right? You don't run tests to see if a project like that is worthwhile. You use your common sense. One of the reasons why diversity is important is because the more diversity you have, especially in leadership, the less likely things like this are going to happen. When everybody employed looks just like you, they're not going to know the impact, the severity of it. When you do something like this, they're not going to know. And there's no reason to really expect for a person to really understand the full impact. They may think it's wrong, but they don't really understand the impact of it, because they can't get there. Like, I don't understand the true impacts of the Holocaust. I can't. I know that it was atrocious. I know that it was horrible. But to understand that, you would have to be someone, completely, and how it internally hurts. You would have to be someone who's Jewish, right? Everyone else can, feel pain, and it's horrible. But it resonates differently whenever you are part of that group that was impacted. Same thing goes for the Native Americans and what happened to them, and so on and so forth. So but again, given that circumstance, you don't go and minimalize it, right? You celebrate the positive aspects of that. I remember going to Boston, and there was like a park that had a Jewish memorial on the Holocaust. And that was something that I celebrated, right? Because it was showing how the community rallied behind the Jewish community there. Sorry. No, he's sending me stuff. And they built this memorial, right? It's something to be proud of. Like here in, sorry, I gotta turn this down because she's on a roll. Here in this area, we have the Asian American Pacific Cultural Center. I could be butchering that, but that is a place to celebrate because it encompasses all different types of Asian people, right? It's something to celebrate and to say, this is cool. There's things here that I didn't know. There's a lot of resources that you can learn from. So it's going out, as I said in this, it's going outside of your comfort zone and truly finding people that look differently than you and are different than you and learning. That's all it is, right? So that's why I make fun of the thumbs down. Even with the Botham Jean thing, there was somebody that gave it a thumbs down. That's funny. Because other videos, again, that don't talk about race, no one says, there's not really thumbs down typically, right? And when I get a thumbs down, I know that I'm resonating with that person because they realize, somebody said a hit dog will holler. And that's what that is. Because it is the truth. And I knew that eventually this escape room would either shut down, which still probably will happen because people still aren't going to go, right? It may survive, or it will either shut down, or it would change its name or change the name of that room, and it did. And I think that was really the right step forward in terms of doing that. And I think the gentleman that actually spoke to them was a black gentleman that spoke to them and took the time out of his day. And he even said it took him some time to he read through the thing. He even got the brochure, the little thing. He read through that and was on a bus getting to his destination, going to work, and he basically soaked all that in during that whole time before he even started to talk to them. He wanted to not come from a place of anger, but from a place of saying, this is the reason why this is problematic. And see, that is the difference. That's the major difference here between that individual and the people that ran this escape room, because he literally wanted to seek a way of not trying to create a problem. Now, again, these individuals probably weren't trying to necessarily create a problem, but they should know. I mean, there are other people giving them benefit of the doubt, but I mean, you should know this isn't cool. But anyhow, city of Tacoma, it's super diverse. To go back to the person that says, why would you go to a city that's mostly white? Tacoma is the most diverse city in the Pacific Northwest. Has the highest concentration of black people in the Pacific Northwest, in the entire Pacific Northwest. And if I wanted to go to Mudlick, Kentucky and live, there ain't a lot of us there. But if I wanted to go to Mudlick, Kentucky, I'll move to Mudlick, Kentucky. Not going to happen. If I wanted to go to Jackson, Mississippi, where there's a lot of black folks there, I'll move to Jackson, Mississippi. If I want to go to San Diego, Los Angeles, if I wanted to go to, Chillicothe, Ohio, Boston, Massachusetts, pick a city, that's where I'll go. This is the city that we are really establishing for us and for the girls. And by having us here, which there are many families that look like us, many families. There are many Blasian couples and Blasian families, and that's a Ask HershNoeie question that somebody asked me about. But there are many families that look like ours, and that is something to celebrate as well. Anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Glad that they actually did change the name. That was good for them in terms of doing that. Thank you for the gentleman that actually spoke to them and really and truly went about it the right way. Appreciate that. Hope you guys are having a great day. Until next time, I will see you. Take care.